Schock, aka Julian, the sole host of Set 5 Pass, a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, and I'm here to show you guys a deck list that I went undefeated with locals, 5-0, first place, and it is Agents, and this is post-made ban list. It's kind of interesting because I talk to a lot of people at the card shop, and whenever I tell people that I'm playing with Agents, or the topic of Agents pops up, I hear the same thing. People will say, like, man, that sounds good, but I don't know what it can do. Well, I showed y'all what it can do. So I'm going to go through the monster lineup, and then I'm just going to go through spells and traps, extra deck and side deck, and then kind of talk about some tech choices and things like that in the middle. So first off, we're going to be starting off with the starters. You play 3 Earth and 3 Diviner. They are essential for the deck, as they are your main normal summons. Earth searches you any agent card on normal summon, and then if you have Sanctuary in the Sky, it can search a Hyperion instead. An important thing to note is that this is a tuner, and so is this. The fact that they are tuners is very important for the deck.
Yep.
So Earth is going to be your main normal summon. Diviner is going to be another chain of play that you can do that's also up for normal summon, and we'll kind of go a little bit more into the Diviner plays, because it is a little bit different than the traditional combos that most people think of. For some of the extenders for the Agents, we play Agent Neptune. Agent Neptune is one of the newer cards that we got out of Ghost from the Past 2. It is a level 1 fairy that you can discard to special summon a agent monster from your hand or graveyard. Then, if this is banished, doesn't matter how, you get to add a Sanctuary in the Sky from deck to hand. So typically this ends up getting you your Sanctuary in the Sky in the mid combos. Also, an important thing to note is that it has 600 defense, so it does synergize with things like Cupid Pitch. I'm not playing Cupid Pitch in the current list, but I'm probably going to be switching towards it, and we'll talk about that more once I get to the extra deck.
Oh, yeah.
Then for our main thing that we're searching, we're using Agent Creation Venus. This, if you've played Agents at any point in their existence since 2002 or 2004, whatever, you're familiar that this
2012, I think. It was like Plant Synchro format.
What?
I was just saying it was like Plant Synchro format. It was somewhere in there.
Yeah. So, summoning Shine Balls is great. Also,
yeah,
it's not once per turn, and people will ash this all the time, and I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They use an Ash Blossom, and I'm like, okay, pay 500 again, and they're like, what? Like, oh, okay, you're new to the game. I can see that. Yeah. Then we play 1 Agent of Destruction Venus. She's a newer card that came out of Balance of Chaos. She's some really nice support for the deck. So on top of being a level 3 tuner, she can do 1 of 2 effects per turn. You can either banish the Venus to special summon her, or the other effect is that you can pay multiples of life points by 5 as 1 effect as opposed to multiple 500 payments. And you can special summon Shine Balls from your graveyard or banish, but they go to the bottom of the deck afterward. So it is important that you can only use 1 effect per turn, once per turn. So it's kind of, you can't put her on board and then just summon a bunch of Shine Balls. You usually have to use her normal summon or special summon her through some means to then abuse Shine Balls. But there's some really crazy loops that you can do involving some of the extra deck monsters to just get 8, 9 Shine Balls in 1 turn. It's kind of crazy.
Ugh. Yep.
Then we play 2 Trickstar Corbane. These are new additions that I recently put in because the Trickstar stage went to 2. The main important thing is that she's just a light fairy that summons to the board if you have no monsters.
Yeah.
So if you have a starter like an Earth or a Diviner and they Imperm or Ash or Effect Veiler like your normal summon, you have 2 fairies on board and you can continue playing. This card just secures you to keep going.
Yep.
And then for the Diviner Pathfinds, we play Triaz because Triaz is an amazing card.
Oh, yeah.
You special summon yourself from grave, and it's the thing that you send off Diviner. And then the thing that you're special summoning off Diviner is Bhutan. So if you're not familiar with Bujin, Bujin is seeing a lot of spotlight right now because of agents. So it's a level 1 fairy tuner, but it has a graveyard effect that you can banish it from the graveyard and target a light fairy you control, and it becomes a tuner. So while you're you can turn this into a 10, and then you'll continue more plays, and then you banish Bujin from your graveyard later on to turn like a Shine Ball into a tuner. And you can do like Halki Fibrax plays or make other synchros to extend further.
Yep.
Then we have some of the boss monsters of the deck. Well, the main deck. We play 1 Majesty Hyperion, 1 Master Hyperion, and 1 Archlord Christia.
Okay, why the one of the Dark Hyperion? That's usually some people play 2, some people play 3.
So I only play 1 because you only need to see 1. The point of it is that you send it from deck to grave through a card effect that Foolish Burial's an agent. So once this is in graveyard, you can special summon this from your graveyard every turn, and this just ends up being free fodder for link summons and synchro. The effect to banish stuff out of the opponent's graveyard is very helpful, and at this past event, it saved me so many games because I could just drain the resources from their graveyard.
Yeah.
Master Hyperion, I really didn't play all too much. Most of the time, I actually used it for fodder for other effects. But it also sucks that Master Hyperion can really only be special summoned from the hand through its own effect, so it does hinder it a lot. It doesn't have the flexibility like Majesty where it can keep coming back from graveyard every turn.
Yeah.
And then Archlord Christia, because this is the floodgate of the deck.
So, yeah.
So Archlord Christia is an amazing card that makes it so neither player can special summon while it's on the field. And if it were to die, it goes to the top of the deck. And if you have exactly 4 fairies in your graveyard, you can just drop it from your hand and bring a fairy back to your hand.
Oh, it's such
so
good fun.
Like 3 awesome effects slapped onto 1 monster.
Yeah.
You are not actually summoning it through its own summoning condition. There's a combo line that ends by putting her on board.
Yeah, I believe that involves the Link 3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, so amazing card. Like there was a lot of games where just putting her on board alongside like a Baron or like some type of negate was game by itself because the opponent just couldn't summon anything big enough to get over her. In addition, like I was initially using a Scythe block variant with like not using DP but using like Halki Fibrax and
Wonder Magician.
The Wonder Magician route and everything. But there was a couple things I didn't like about that. One is that a lot of people anticipate Scythe, so there's a lot of counters to Scythe block right now. It's like you can DD Crow the Scythe, you can Bell the Scythe. There's already like this is weak to like Chalice, Imperm, Droplet. Scythe is weak to all those things as well. There's just more things in the current meta that disrupts Scythe than what there is Christia.
Yeah.
And also, you're not using, like, you're never summoning Christia from grave unless, like, really rare circumstances. So, this isn't getting belled or DD crowed or anything like that. So that's kind of why I lean more into this variant, because it just has less weaknesses to the lockout. Also, an important thing, and this came up actually quite a few times, is that under Scythe Lock, most players can still do their Brave stuff, their Adventurer stuff. Summon the token, summon the Griffin Rider, get the equip spell, bounce something back. You can't get the token. Like, no special summoning period. So, with no token, no adventure stuff either. So, amazing card. Then the hand trap lineup. 2 orange lights, because this is a fairy deck. Amazing card. Most people are not anticipating that half the time. 2 Ghost Ogre to stop Ghost Ogre related. This is also a counter to Brave, but it also hits a lot of the branded stuff right now, like branded Despia. They'll use Mirror Jade to banish their own monster turn 1, and you can Ghost Ogre, kill the Mirror Jade, and then you don't have to worry about the board wipe effect on your turn when you're trying to go in.
Yeah.
Then standard 2 Ash Blossoms, because Ash Blossom And then I'm maining 2 Droll and Lockbirds. This was one that was actually it was hinted and suggested at by somebody else, but this card is amazing in the main deck. There's just so many things that just add a little bit more, or they search something, because there's just a lot of engines and decks right now. So this, oftentimes, like if I was going second and I hit them with a Droll, it ended their turn, or they basically couldn't make a big board, and then I could actually do what I need to do. Like, as an agent deck and a combo deck, you really only need 1 turn to pop off, and this kind of secures you that turn to pop. And then 3 bricks, 3 shine balls, because we're supplemental. Yep. It's the cost of playing this deck.
Yep, but it's a great payout when it works.
It's such a great payout. Oh my gosh. These things are scary. Like, these things can be used for everything, like link fodder, synchro, Exes plays. Like,
yep.
It's amazing.
Yep.
So now we're going to go over to the spells and traps. There's only 10, so it's kind of a relatively small package. We're playing 30 monsters in the main deck.
Makes sense. It's a big monster deck.
It is a huge monster deck. Skill drain hurts. Like, hurts really bad. So we play 3 Sacred Waters of the Sky. This is another new support that we got from Ghost from the Past 2. It adds any monster, it adds Sanctuary in the Sky or any monster that mentions Sanctuary in the Sky in its card effect, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
And then if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in either player's graveyard, you gain 500 life points for every agent and Hyperion. The life point thing doesn't matter all too much, but every now and then it comes up. And then it has one last effect that if any monster that mentions Sanctuary in the Sky and its card effect were to be destroyed by battle, you can banish this from graveyard instead. This is both starter and extender.
Yeah.
I just want to see this in the starting hand. It's amazing.
Yeah, Ghost from the Past 2 really brought the deck back to life.
Oh my god. Like, I think a lot of people thought that the deck was kind of underwhelming with the new support because it seemed kind of meh. But, like, once you get going, it does some crazy stuff. The new thing that we played that's actually from the ban list, Trickstar Stage at 2. So the main purpose of this search is core pain. And the other effect to actually lock down back row does come in handy because this deck is kind of weak to back row. So being able to like stop a torrential tribute before you get started, or lock down a solemn strike or a solemn judgment is like actually really important. Came quite a few times.
Yep.
The 1 Sanctuary in the Sky because we can search it and we can recycle it. 1 Called by the Grave to help us play through hand traps. 1 Change of Heart because the new thing that we got from the ban list. I wish I had cool stuff to say about this, but I literally never saw it in 5 matches.
Wow.
Like, it was never in my hand. I had it played against me several times, but like, yeah, I never saw it. Anyways, I'm playing this as 1 at 1. Previously, this was a Foolish Burial to kind of get your Majesty Hyperion on the grave so you can extend from grave. And then at another point, it was a Terraforming because we played 3 field spells. I didn't like Terraforming because on the off chance that the opponent was playing Droll, they could Droll me on the Terraforming and then my turn ended. I'd much rather like get Drolled after an Earth Surge or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 traps, 2 Imperms.
Yeah, that's good.
The 2 Imperms, along with everything else, makes it so we're playing 10 hand traps. And I feel like 10 is a really optimal ratio in this current meta.
Yeah.
So that's the main deck. 40 cards, that was another thing. Like, most people who play the combo variant play like 45, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
You can do a firm, solid 40.
Yep. Makes sense.
Now, moving on to the extra deck. So this extra deck can do Synchro, Links, and Exes. It kind of does everything except for fusions this format. But we're going to start off with the Synchros first, because they're the most impactful. Pluto. New support that we got from Ghost from the Past 2. It is a walking Book of Moon, and it is a quick effect if you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field.
Yep.
Pretty good. The other nice thing is that if it's in graveyard, you can banish it to get Sanctuary in the Sky. One dragster. We can make 7s using Corbane. So being able to access a spell and trap negate is actually really handy. It secured me 1 match yesterday because the opponent was starting to lean into their Brave Engine and everything else, and this was just able to stop the Rite of Arrows here. Wolf Rat. To be honest, I never once played this card. Every time I had the ability to synchro for a 9, I would much rather be a Link monster. I'm probably going to take this.
Okay.
I was using Trish initially, but I think this might turn into a Cupid pitch, back to the Cupid pitch route, because it's more extension and it's searching. This is kind of something like, you're not making a level 9 synchro till really late into the combo, so to be able to get off enough effects to have it to where it has its full stats, it's just not going to happen in your turn, and it's going to have to rely on the opponent's turn, which we really don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And then one Master Flare Hyperion, the MVP of the deck. What a crazy card. This thing does a couple things. So, 3200 level 10 synchro, takes a tuner and a non-tuner fairy. And you can send anything that, I think it's an agent, or anything that mentions Sanctuary Sky from your hand, deck, or extra deck to the graveyard, sending is cost. And it copies the effect for the turn. So, what you usually do is that you use the effect to